Okay, welcome to our YouTube live of our match against Havant and Waterloo. Team sheets are in, so we'll just run through the Wrexham team, and then myself and Colin will have a bit of a chat around the team. So Wrexham, no change in goals, so Langton in goal with Roberts, Pearson, Jake Lawler and Mark Harrington retaining his position at left back. Looking at midfield, so we've got Luke Summerfield, Luke Young starts ahead of Akil Wright, and Brad Walker retains his place just in front of defence. And then looking at our attacking line, Stuart Bevan is going to play through the middle with Jordan Maguire-Drew and Raquel Pike starting today. So Colin, looking, so we just look at the subs as well. We've got Dibble, Rutherford, Deverdix, Akil Wright and Dougie Tharm back from injury. So just looking at the team that Sam's picked, obviously start again for Luke Young ahead of Akil Wright, and also notable absences for Chris Holroyd and Mike Fondop.
Yeah, obviously we're expecting Mike with the suspension today. It's a shame, it seems that Chris Holroyd hasn't recovered from that injury he picked up against Barnet, and it's a big shame because as we were chatting pre-match, he's been unlucky this season. It's more bad luck, just as it looked like he was getting back into the team, and he looked really good in the few games we've seen of him, certainly at home this season. The other change, obviously Luke Young in for Akil Wright. Bit of a surprise, but at the same time, Luke Young's not been out of the team because he's playing badly. He's another who's been unfortunate, and I guess a big chance for him. Somebody had to miss out, and it's just a shame that it was Akil Wright that has, I suppose. Yeah, and
it looks like, Sam's preferring Brad Walker in that kind of defensive holding midfielder position ahead of Akil Wright. As we've seen, Akil Wright can kind of play that defensive midfield, and he can push on and be a bit more attacking as well. But as we talked about pre-match, I think early on it was that trio of both Luke's and Akil Wright that seemed to be working really successfully. But since he's obviously brought in Brad Walker, he gets the nod ahead. So it'll be interesting to see Luke Summerfield with Luke Young, because Luke Young's only ever come on as a substitute since, hasn't he? He's kind of had bit parts to play, and Raquel Pike starts.
Yeah, I've been a big fan of Raquel Pike. I think he's got a lot of energy, and certainly in that front three with Maguire, Drew and Bevan, you'd imagine they're going to be interchanging a lot. Pike seems to do a lot of running, put a big shift in, and 3 backheel goals at home, so another one of those to do very nicely.
We're going to see 4. Yeah, and obviously on the bench, we haven't got an out-and-out forward, an out-and-out striker, so I'm assuming Bevan will be playing for the full game. Obviously we've got 2 wingers in Rutherford and Deverdix, obviously Akil Wright and then Dougie Tharm as our defensive cover, obviously with Christian Dibble, our goalkeeper. Do you kind of see changes on the wings and keeping Bevan playing the full match?
I suppose, yeah, and obviously when he first came to the club he was short of match fitness, he hadn't played for a long time. Sam's been very careful to work him up there. He has played a few 90 minutes, I suppose that's the big positive. I guess, as you said, with Paul Rufford, Nicky Deverdix, the options are there to either straight swap with Pike and Maguire-Drew if things aren't working, or if we just need fresh legs. Alternatively, we have seen Bevan playing out wide if that's needed. Get one of the other lads in the middle. So there's certainly options with the 3 starting and Rufford and Deverdix to come in. It could be mixed up a bit up front.
And as you said, obviously Holroyd unlucky, was injured pre-season, and unlucky because in terms of Fondop, that's a combination of them both. Fondop was scoring, but obviously for today Fondop is suspended, so just typical. But at least we're playing, I say at least, touch wood, but we're playing a team who are in the relegation in those bottom 4 places, who, looking at their record as we talked about pre-match, can score goals, but they seem to let goals in. Looking at our starting 11 at least, can you see goals come in today?
For Wrexham, definitely. I mean, we've seen all of the front players have been contributing this season, which has been a positive. And while Mike Fondop started well, he actually hasn't been scoring many lately. He's dropped off a lot. So while he would have been a big absence, I think, at the start of the season, we seem to have coped with that the last few games, certainly. And he's the one now trying to push back and win his place back. So big chance for the 3 that are in the team to cement their places, I suppose.
It's healthy, isn't it, to have that competition? Yeah, and obviously our captain, Pearson, has added some goals as well along the way. So an unchanged back line, as we kind of predicted, I guess. Obviously Jennings still out. So at least we're getting some consistency, aren't we, in the goalkeeper and the back four, and even including Walker now, they're very much gelled. As we again talked about pre-match, they're kind of set pretty much. And Mr. Reliable Carrington, who can slot in anywhere, can't he? He was playing it right back for Roberts, now he's left back for Jennings. He's played in most roles, hasn't he? So other than goalkeeper, so that's, I guess, pleasing to see as well, isn't it? That you stay consistent.
I have to say, Jennings is very unlucky. I've really enjoyed watching Jennings play this season, but like you say, the back four still looks good. Whichever combination of players are coming in, we've just 9 clean sheets this season, I suppose, tells its own story of that. Yeah,
and why change something that's working? Especially when there's still Manny, there's still Jennings, you two, obviously Dougie Tharm slotted in as well. Why change? Why change something that is working? Again, we talked about pre-match, Jake Lawler. I'm surprised that Salford did sell him, but without having seen Salford play yet, we obviously haven't come across them.
They're probably
yet,
not missing him the way they are, shooting up the table, but their loss has been our gain, definitely, in that department.
Exactly. So just going through the Havant Waterloo starting 11. So in goal, Ben Dzazinski, with Brian Stock, Ryan Woodford, Edward Harris, Theo Lewis, Nicky Kabamba, their top scorer, Bradley Tarbuck, Josh Huggins, Andreas Robinson, Ibra Sikadja, and Tyler Cordner. With Dan Strugnell, Alfie Pavey, Aaron Cosgrave, Jordan Rose and Paul Robinson on the bench, with Lee Bradbury as their manager. Looks like they've made 2 changes. Williams, Brian Stock coming in for Williams, who's injured, and Josh Huggins for Alfie Pavey, who's on the bench. In terms of, obviously don't know too much about the Havant team, apart, last match they've lost 1-0 in the 93rd minute to Solihull. As we said, it seems like they can score goals, and Kabamba is in the top scorer in terms of league's top scorer, same as Mike Fondop. Could see goals today, but perhaps defensively they're not as strong as we are.
It certainly seems the weak points in their defence. It's going to have hurt they lost in the 93rd minute last week as well. I think I heard Mark, who's obviously going to be on Callan FM later, saying that they're actually the top away scorers in the league outside of the playoffs, which shows we shouldn't be taking this lightly. We've got a great defensive record, but as you said, with Kabamba and goals in that team, it could be one of those games that if we don't get the early goal, nerves could come into it, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely. And looking at our starting 11, obviously Bevan has scored. I know Pike, as you said, scored the three back heels. Maguire Drew has scored, but we just, like you said, I think an early, and obviously Pearson, but I think, as you said, an early goal to help settle the team. Because as we said, in the last match, Wrexham did sit back and kind of invited pressure from Barnet. Interestingly, I think Havant played Barnet the match before we played Barnet as well, and there were goals in that. So I haven't seen. I mean, Havant obviously come up. So
new team.
They are a new team in this league. So again, though, as we talked about pre-match, a lot of these players may not have played at a big stadium with a big crowd, might be used to the small crowds. But I think Sam's pick probably is the team he thinks is obviously the best to win today, but based on the players he had available, obviously Fondop, Holroyd, Jennings, we still haven't seen obviously Freddie Hines, as we talked about, and Scott Burgess, but obviously Sam's assessed that based on what he thinks is right. As
you said before the game, they do a hell of a lot of work. It's easy for us to sit here and say, why is Akil Wright not in the team? But Sam's once been watching him all week on the training pitch. I think he's proved that we should trust him. There were a few complaints before the Ebbsfleet game, and 45 minutes later we were rocking at the racecourse, weren't we?
And that's one thing about Sam, I would say, that he does like to use his substitutes, and we're never kind of in the 89th minute kind of saying, why hasn't he made a sub at all? You can see that they're all tiring. He is willing to use his subs. I mean, Rutherford has featured heavily, and I think Rutherford doesn't stop running. He's up and down constantly, and I think if Havant do start to tire, that's a great option to bring on. Same with Akil Wright. He's such an athlete, isn't he? And Davidix hasn't played that much, has he? But
he's another, I suppose, who was unlucky at the start of the season to be out of the team, and now with that midfield, as you said, it's getting very hard to get back into the starting 11.
Yeah, it is, and you know, he's looking for that attacking midfield role, and really, if you've got young Summerfield, you know, you would always put them again ahead of him at the moment. Well, anyway. But yeah, that is the roundup of both starting 11 teams and substitutes. Just a reminder that Mark will be live on Calon FM, live commentary throughout the match. We'll be live on our social media streams, and highlights commentary for this match is with myself. So listen in on YouTube afterwards if you'd like to hear my voice again.